Alright, I have decided that we are going to do a Lions vs. Falcons review video. And don't mind my hair, I know it's a mess up here right now. I tried to fix it a little bit. I'm too lazy to go upstairs right now to go get my hat. So we're just going to have to deal with it, alright? It's bugging me too. But let's go ahead and get right into the review video. So, I didn't really want to make this video because of the Morice Norris injury. We will give Morice Norris update at the end. It's very positive news. So let's go ahead and get into the review video. The Lions essentially only did play 3 quarters. 3 quarters in a play of the 4th quarter. We'll go over the Falcons stats first. Actually, no, we'll go over the Lions, and we'll just skim through the Falcons. Hendon Hooker, yeah, man, this game to me was a battle who's gonna win the quarterback 2 job, and I think Hendon Hooker lost his chance. He, like, the statistical passing numbers here might not have been bad. 7 for 10, 38 yards. But when you get to the rushing, deep in rushing, he was not a good quarterback this game, man. He felt not relaxed in the pocket. He felt like he was being rushed, felt like he wasn't taking care of the ball. Made some nice throws, but also made some throws he could have made better that were incomplete. Kyle Allen absolutely balled out. He made up for last week, going 7 for 8, 120 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. One of the touchdowns was to Isaac Tesla. Got his first touchdown as a Detroit Lion. I think it was like a 22-yard passing catch by Tesla in the corner of the end zone, and the other one was to Jackson Meeks, his first career touchdown on, I believe it was a 2 or 3 yard reception on like first, I believe it was 3rd and goal. But Kyle Allen absolutely balled out. Dan Campbell said it was a great performance. He said, I forget what the word he said. It was magical or something like that. He said a really positive word about Kyle Allen that made me think, after this performance and after what Dan Campbell was saying, that Kyle Allen now has the quarterback 2 job locked. It's his job to lose now. So unless he comes out these last 2 weeks and just throws up what he did in week 1 of the preseason against the Chargers, I don't expect him to lose the quarterback 2 job. I still wouldn't be surprised if the Lions brought in another quarterback. They brought in Jake Fromm the last week of the preseason last year. Tim Boyle got released today at the recording of the video. So watch the Lions bring back Tim Boyle. I would literally pop a gasket if they did that. But Kyle Allen absolutely balled out. I believe he is now will be quarterback 2, even after his horrible performance last week. But he made up for it in a big way this time. And Hendon Hooker, I think it's just going to be for Hendon Hooker. If he continues to play like this, he might be able to stick on the practice squad. But if he plays a little bit better than this, there's no way he's going to stay on the practice squad. So do you keep 3 quarterbacks or try to trade him and get a 6th or 7th round pick for him? You probably wouldn't even be able to get a 6th, maybe a 7th you'd be able to get for him. But that's about it. So do you really think it's worth him to cut him? Or cut him, potentially try to get his 7th round pick, or keep 3 quarterbacks because he won't stay on the practice squad? I'd be highly shocked if he stayed on the practice squad, even if he continues to just play like this. Moving on to running backs. Jacob Saylors, his statistical numbers here won't look great, but I thought he played very well today. 9 carries, 35 yards, 3.9 yards a carry. Had a lot of explosive runs. I could see him sneaking onto the practice squad if he continues to play like what he did this game. Hendon Hooker, 3 for 27. That's not bad, but when I was talking about not holding on to the football, he had 2 fumbles this game. He ended up getting benched. He didn't play the first 2 quarters fully like he was expected to. Dan Campbell said he was going to play the first 2 quarters of the game, and he ended up getting benched like 3/4 way through the 2nd quarter, and he then ended up returning this game, which I think hurts his chances as well. And Dan Campbell's put a heavy emphasis on these past couple press conferences about that you need to hold on to the ball, that we cannot turn the ball over. That's the number one thing he said about after the Chargers performance, and Hendon Hooker did not do a good job at this game. Craig Reynolds, he should not be out there. He took another huge hit from Hendon Hooker. It was kind of a lob pass by Hendon Hooker. It could have been very well caught, but it also could have been very well avoided by Hendon Hooker. Now you could also blame it on the safety of the Falcons just coming in and hitting Craig Reynolds. You can say Craig Reynolds was defenseless. I'm 50-50 on that. Like, I do think Craig Reynolds was defenseless, but I also kind of think that Hendon Hooker put that in a spot where he could have very well got hit legally, and I think it was a legal hit. I don't think it was illegal. I think it was just a big hit. So I'm torn on that. If they would have thrown a flag, would have made sense. If they didn't throw a flag like they didn't, it made sense to me. So I'm on both ways there, but Craig Reynolds should not be playing the preseason regardless. I understand Sione Vaki was out once again, and Jabari Small, I think, ended up getting hurt in this game as well. So I think that is why Craig Reynolds played a little bit. But from now on, he should not be playing. This is now two big hits, or a big hit and a injury he had last week that should be avoided with him not playing. So I hope he doesn't play the last 2 weeks. He shouldn't. Jabari Small, he actually got waived with an injury settlement a couple days ago that I'm assuming was from this game because I do not think he returned. He once again had a pitiful performance. 5 carries, 13 yards. Just looks slow, man. Justin Jackson, Jamal Williams combined. That is how I will describe him if he ever comes back for whatever reason. Kyle Allen, 2 for 10. On the receiving, Jackson Meeks potentially showed that he can be wide receiver 6 and push out Dominic Leavitt, who missed this game with an injury. Jackson Meeks had 3 receptions, 78 yards, and a touchdown, and a bomb. I think it was a 62-yard reception or something like that to him from Kyle Allen. It was a beautiful throw for Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen doesn't have a great arm, but it was a beautiful throw by Kyle Allen. And there was a ref in the way that Jackson Meeks almost hit because the ref almost didn't get out of the way in time. It would have been the biggest hit on a referee, I think, in NFL history. I mean, it was essentially... Jackson Meeks was essentially triple teamed, or double teamed at least because of the ref. Like a real talk. I mean, I was surprised Jackson Meeks was able to pull, and I'm glad he did because he would have definitely had a fit if he wouldn't be able to catch that ball because of that referee. But was that a scary moment for that referee for sure. But he also had his first touchdown, obviously, from Kyle Allen. Ronnie Bell, decent performance, 2 for 26, making a case to make the practice squad. Tesla, 2 for 18, obviously had his first touchdown. His other one, I believe, was on a slant, caught for first down. Tom Kennedy, 2 for 14, trying to fight for a practice squad spot. Sailors, 2 for 14. And Shane Zelsha trying to win that tight end 3 spot, 3 for 8. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Eric Hallett, I thought played okay. Kind of how he's played last week, though, in my opinion. Okay to below average. Rocky Sen, I thought, had another good day today. He made another good tackle. They played him quite a bit, though, at safety this game. I prefer him at cornerback. DiCaprio Boodle struggled once again. He played better than last week, in my opinion, but he still struggled. Zach Cunningham made up for a not good performance last week, in my opinion. I thought he had a very good game this time around. Trevor Nowaski also made up for his pitiful performance last week. Also had a good game this time around. Morice Norris, not going to really talk on him too much. I didn't really see him out there anyway besides after that injury. Muhammad absolutely balled out. Muhammad, I think, only played a drive or two this game, but he absolutely balled out. He had a sack, and he very well could have had 2 or 3. He was getting after the quarterback and saying, this is why anybody that does not have him making the 53-man roster is absolutely insane. The only way it does not make the 53-man roster is if Nate Lynn continues to play how he's playing, which we'll get to in a minute, and Zadarius Smith comes back. And even still, Muhammad should still make the 53, but that would be the only reason why Muhammad would not make the 53, in my opinion. He absolutely balled out today. Grant Stewart, you can just see it from Grant Stewart's play, man. I'm on the Grant Stewart hype now, I think, after the 2 performances I've seen from him in the preseason. He definitely is a Lion-type player. He's got the grit. He's got the mentality. He's got the playing style. He's got everything as a Detroit Lion, as the Lions player you would think of. He's got everything. I really like his style of play, too. He's a lot like Ezekiel Turner, just 2 times better. That's kind of how I view him. Just all over the field, doesn't quit, fast. That's just how I kind of view Grant Stewart. Ian Kennelly, I thought had a little bit of a down day compared to last week, but didn't think it was horrible. Again, on to Nate Lynn. Nate Lynn had his first sack of the preseason. He also very well could have had 2 or 3 sacks this game, along with Muhammad. Obviously, Nate Lynn played a little bit more this game, but Nate Lynn once again led us in PFF grades. Now, I'm not over PFF like that, but he once again led us in PFF grades. This game, I believe it was an 82.8 or an 83.8 or something like that. He led the team again on offense and defense in PFF grades this week. I believe he did last week, or he got second last week. He should definitely make the 53-man roster after this performances. And I told you, this guy was the guy that was under the radar. I was hoping for to make the 53-man this year, and right now he's on pace to do that. And he could make a very big impact as a depth piece on the Lions if he makes it. Nick Whiteside really didn't see much of him. Ahmed Hassanin had another decent day today. Not quite as good as last week, but he's still making some good plays in the run game. Vontae Maddox really didn't see him. Strickland really didn't see him. Broderick Martin. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe I'm saying this. But Broderick Martin, I give respect to where it's due. Broderick Martin had a great performance today. He really did. You probably don't believe it if you didn't watch the game, but he had a great day. It was the best day by far I've ever seen from Broderick Martin in his 3 years now as a Detroit Lion. By far. Every single game I've seen him playing up until this point, he did not have a good game. It's his best game prior to this game was a below average game compared to any defensive tackle in the NFL when they play a game. Broderick Martin played very well today. There's one series where he just bullied everybody. Almost got a sack. I believe he had a tipped ball, if I'm not mistaken. But he was pressuring the quarterback an insane amount and was very good in the run game as well. I believe he played another drive or two after that as well. Played decent as well after that one drive, one series as well. He had a very good game today. He still should not make the 53-man or practice squad. He's just not consistent enough. If I can see this for the final 2 weeks, then yes, maybe he deserves a practice squad spot. Continue to develop him. But right now, he has to continue that consistency because if he doesn't, there's no way he should make the 53-man or practice squad. But I do give respect to where he's due, and he did have a good performance today. Keith Cooper, he looked decent again. I'm not on the Keith Cooper hype train like everybody else is. I think he's a solid backup, but I just don't know if he's 53-man roster type. I think he's a good practice squad guy. I've had making the practice squad on both of my 53-man roster predictions, and spoiler alert, I have him making the practice squad once again. So it's like, I think he's a practice squad guy who can be on the 53, but it's just not ideal. I don't know. I think he's been okay from what I've seen. Luke Barco, really didn't see much of him. Same with Malik Taylor. Tristan Colon got hurt in this game. And you'll see on the 53-man roster prediction, Dan Campbell said he's going to be out a while. He's going to be down a while. So I don't know what that means. So check out my 53-man roster prediction video. It's probably not out yet, but probably within the next day or two. You'll see it out after this video is up. I really didn't know what to do with him. So, I look forward to that. It kind of changed my 53-man quite a bit. And then on the Jake Bates was 100%. I believe he made it was I can't remember if it was last week or this week. I think it was this week. He made 57-yard field goal. That was absolutely drilled and probably could have been good from 62, but not compared. Shout out to Cam Little, the Jaguars kicker, made a 70-yard field goal this week. It's insane. Jake Bates' kick from 57 this week, though, probably would have been good from 62 or 63. It was absolutely drilled. Absolutely drilled. It was insane. But shout out to Cam Little as well, man. That was the longest field goal in NFL history by 4 yards, but unfortunately it's probably not going to count in the record book since it's preseason. Going over to the Falcons side of the thing, we'll just run through it. Easton Stick played very well, 15 for 18, 149 yards and a touchdown for the former Chargers quarterback. Emory Jones, UDFA, played pretty well. Nathan Carter, we held the run game. They really didn't run the ball that much. Elijah Dotson kind of sucked. 5 carries, no yards. Everybody else they kind of held down very good as well, but they didn't really have a lot of carries. Dylan Drummond, the former Lions UDFA wide receiver, I can't remember where he was from. I believe it was maybe Oregon a couple of years ago. Was fighting for the wide receiver 5 or 6 spot. I want to say 2 or 3 years. I think it was 2 years ago. Was competing for the wide receiver 5 spot. And with, what was his name? Chase Cota. I believe Chase Cota's on the Colts now. And then Dylan Drummond is obviously on the Falcons, and he put up a great performance. 8 receptions, 63 yards. I like to see that from Dylan Drummond. Dylan Drummond was the guy who was fantastic throughout training camp and then had a disappointing preseason, but still wasn't horrible. And then Chase Cota was the one that he didn't really hear throughout training camp, but he absolutely balled out during the preseason. And funny enough, both of them didn't end up making the 53 or practice squad. But Dylan Drummond did his thing today. Chris Boyer, 3 receptions, 54 yards and a touchdown. Nick Nash, UDFA wide receiver from San Jose State, 3 for 35. I really wanted the Lions to draft him or pick him up in UDFA free agency. They did not, but he had a decent day. David Sills, 1 for 15. Quincy Skinner, 1 for 14. Joshua Simon, 2 for 9. And Elijah Dotson, 1 for 8. Defense side of the ball, Josh Woods, the former Lions linebacker. I hope they bring him back if he doesn't make the Falcons 53. He balled out today, made a lot of nice tackles with sticky and coverage. Really like to see him return to Detroit if he does not make the Falcons roster this year. On the other side of the ball, you got two big names here: Lamar Jackson and Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant coming back alive and playing for the Falcons, and then Lamar Jackson switching teams to play cornerback for the Falcons. That's crazy. Obviously, that's not the case for either one of them. Obviously, Kobe Bryant spelled a different way here compared to the late great Kobe Bryant. Shout out to him. Rest in peace. But UDFA from, I believe, Kansas, and then Lamar Jackson. I've heard of him before, cornerback, UDFA a couple years ago. And that's about it from their side of the ball. Khalid Karam had a sack. Arnold Ebiketie had a sack, defensive end. And Mike Ford, former Lion, made a tackle, as well as another player on here, LaCale London, made pretty. I'm not going to say I actually kind of know this guy from, like, I don't know this guy, but I don't even know how I can put this without revealing too much. He went to a location that I've gone to, so that's what I've said. That's what I'll say. So I kind of have a relation there. I never saw him in person, but I kind of had a relation there with LaCale London, so I'm rooting for him to make the Falcons 53. I really didn't know how to word that without revealing too much. Moving on to the team stats, and we'll wrap this video up, and then we'll go over the Morice Norris update, and then the video will be over. Total yards, 246 to 207. Again, keep in mind there's only 3 quarters of this game because they did not play the fourth quarter. They suspended the game after Morice Norris' injury. Passing yards, 146 for the Lions, 185 for the Falcons. 100 rushing yards on the nose for the Lions, 22 for the Falcons. Yards per play, 5.3 for the Lions, 5.8 for Falcons. First downs, 14 for Lions, 9 for Falcons. Third down efficiency, the Lions went 3 for 9. Falcons 1 for 7. Fourth down efficiency, the Lions went 100%, 2 for 2. Falcons went 0 for 1. Total plays, 46 for the Lions, 36 for the Falcons. Sacks allowed, 3 for the Lions, 2 for the Falcons. Punts, 2 for the Lions, 3 for the Falcons. 5 for 50 penalty yards for the Lions, 4 for 43 for the Falcons. 2 fumbles lost, both by Hendon Hooker on the Lions, 0 by the Falcons. Interceptions thrown, 0 apiece for both teams. And time possession, 24 minutes and 50 seconds for the Lions, and 28 minutes and 51 seconds for the Atlanta Falcons. So the Lions, they technically won this game 17-10, but in my eyes, this is not a win. This is a game that is a deuce. You can have it as a tie game or just not have it in the record books at all. So in my opinion, I'm still counting the Lions as 0-1-1 on the preseason, or just 0-1 with the loss, or you can put them 0-1-1 with the tie. I'm not counting this as a win like they're counting it as. Yeah, we scored more points and stuff like that, but we didn't play the whole fourth quarter, so you never know what would have changed. They both suspended the game due to an injury, so I'm not counting this game as one. I did really like what I saw, though, from a lot of players. I'm a little bit more confident after this game and a little bit more of the depth pieces. Still not 100% confident in the quarterback 2 spot. If Kyle Allen could play next week and the next following week like he did this week, then I'll be a little bit more confident. But hopefully that quarterback 2 battle continues to be pretty good for Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker. That way I don't have to worry about as much about that. And after a lot of more injuries, we got a lot more work to do. But I really like what I saw today from the Detroit Lions. So let's go over the Morice Norris thing here real quick. Take about 30 seconds, and then we'll wrap this video up. The Lions posted as an update, I think, the day after it happened. Morice Norris in stable condition as feeling and movement in all his extremities. He'll remain at Grady Memorial Hospital, Atlanta, overnight for observation. He did, and he is now returned to the Lions facility. They also put out, we'd like to thank the Atlanta Falcons organization, the EMS team, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and the doctors and staff at Grady for their support. Absolutely, this is great to see. I'm so glad Morice Norris avoided everything from what I expected the bad news for him to get. So I'm so glad he avoided everything from it. He's already back. He's in concussion protocol. Will probably miss the next 10 to 14 days according to Dan Campbell. But hopefully, I think he is going to earn himself a practice squad spot after this. But you never know with how the Lions roll. But he definitely should, for sure, at least make the practice squad. But this is so good to hear. Still prayers up for Morice Norris, but this is absolutely fantastic news to hear. One Pride Go Lions, wishing the best Morice Norris, and I hope he can make the roster.